What is everybody? Welcome back to another weather forecast here. This is now my third preliminary fall forecast here. It is now fall and winter week as it is now August 1st. We're going to be talking about fall and winter throughout all of this week, my annual fall and winter week on the first week of August. It's going to be very exciting here. We're going to be talking a lot about fall and winter throughout the whole week. Also, we're not going to talk about the tropics, but we're going to be also talking about a lot about winter and fall. So we're going to be starting off with fall here, and we'll be ending the week with winter. So here's my third preliminary fall forecast here. Very excited. We'll be looking at precipitation, winter, and then my general fall forecast here. So be sure to stay tuned for the ending, as you can find out whether you'll be seeing a cold, warm, wet, dry, any fall conditions there. So be sure to stay tuned for that. If you really love fall and winter, be sure to subscribe if you're new, because this is a very exciting week, especially if you love fall and winter. And from here, at this point, all the way to December, we'll have a lot of winter and fall discussions here. So be sure to stay tuned for that and subscribe if you're new. Without further ado, let's go to this fall forecast. Here's a look now at the precipitation. As you see, I do think we could be seeing a big region for above average precipitation there for portions of the northern United States here. I do think we'll be seeing a ton of slightly above average precipitation. That'll be for portions of all the way from the Pacific Northwest to portions of the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. We're missing possibly a lot of precip because of maybe getting towards more a La Nina pattern, which would bring in a lot more precip for the Pacific Northwest and Ohio Valley. And that's exactly why we can be seeing above average precipitation. We can see a lot more snow here, especially with this incoming cold front with a lot of precip. That is perfect conditions to have a snowstorm, precip, and below average temperatures, or cold temperatures really. So we're going to be seeing a ton of potential snowstorms likely for the Great Lakes, Midwest this fall, Ohio Valley. You guys can possibly see some snowstorms really, maybe Thanksgiving or between Thanksgiving and Christmas snowstorm. And then we can see a lot of snow possibly happening in the Rockies as well. So we're going to be seeing a very good chance for a snowy Thanksgiving for a portion of the Great Lakes, for the Rocky Mountains there. Also, we have a huge area that is actually under a general above average, or a general above average in that second shade of green. That is a general, not slightly or not way above, just in general above average. That's going to be for portions of the Sierras and the Pacific Northwest and portions up there of the Rockies. Going to be seeing a lot more precipitation this year, a lot of snow, and a lot of precipitation as well. So really, you're definitely gonna, if you're in the moderate above average, you will definitely notice it. But if you're in the slightly above average, you probably won't notice it as much, because it obviously is slightly above slightly above average. So we won't really notice it too much. Let's go check out the below average temperatures. There we have for the southern United States, we can be seeing slightly below average precipitation, which means obviously that La Nina pattern brings in warmer temperatures for portions of the south or the southern United States and drier conditions. We actually have an equal chance for La Nina neutral, so really it may or may not be like this for a winter here, but we may get very close to La Nina as we get closer to fall. We have an equal chance though there. Let's go check out now the temperatures. As you see, we're going to be seeing this pattern split from west to east like we usually do. As you see, a very, very widespread area for below average temperatures, which is like 3 to 6 degrees below average in general. But in those areas that are slightly below average temperatures, we can see a 1 or 2 big Arctic blasts that can get to your area. But in general, you guys would say just slightly below average. Probably will notice it only a couple times, but really other than that, won't be too big of a difference. So that's going to be a lot of the general eastern United States, from Florida to Montana to Maine. So if you're in that light blue color, you can expect slightly below average temperatures this fall, from September to portions of December. And that second shade of blue, that kind of navy looking color, that is moderately below average. So you can probably see a more significant cold front, more significant Arctic blast, and that's going to bring in a lot colder temperatures, maybe 20 degrees below average at some point, and that can bring some big potential for snowfall in those areas in the Great Lakes. So we're going to have not only above average precipitation, but also below average temperatures. A big chance for snowfall for the Great Lakes. Let's go check out now for portions of the western United States. Could be seeing slightly above average temperatures all the way from Washington to Texas there. You'll probably see only like 2 to 3 degrees above average in general, but with the same thing with the cold front, we can be seeing some big warm fronts here, and those areas are only in the slightly above average. It's not frequent enough to put you into a second shade or a third shade of orange. So if you're in the slightly above average temps, you probably won't notice it unless there's a huge significant change in the pattern where it brings in way warmer temperatures. That can happen once or twice this season, but won't be too shabby. So you probably not going to be warm enough to actually complain about it. In the second shade of orange, that's going to be for a lot of the West Coast. We have moderately above average. So in those areas, you can definitely notice the huge change. Could be seeing some warmer temperature for portions of the West, including Washington, Oregon, and California. Could be seeing maybe 5 to 6 degrees above average in general. And those we can see a lot more frequent cold, warm fronts in these areas throughout the season of fall. So if you're in that area in the second shade of orange, you definitely are going to be seeing a very warm fall this season. Now that we checked that out, let's go check out now. Drum rolls, please. This is now my general fall forecast, and boom, there we go. Let's go and start with the red. We have tropical activity for much of the eastern United States coast, all the way from Texas, along all the Gulf Coast, from Florida up to portions of Virginia. So really, we're going to continue to see tropical activity. Nothing really new. We always have tropical activity here in general for fall, so definitely be seeing a big potential tropical activity in these general areas from Texas to Virginia. North of that, we have a cooler fall. So if you're in a cooler fall region, that kind of like purplish blue color, you're going to see a cooler fall, but not significantly cold. So if you're in the cooler fall, basically it means you're going to be seeing slightly below average temperatures, just slightly cooler. Not going to be a huge change that you probably won't feel the difference there. We could have 1 or 2 big cold fronts in those areas, but nothing really major there. So it won't be significant. Only a couple degrees off, and maybe you might feel it or you might not feel it. It just depends on if you really look at it the way if it's colder or not. Up there in the northeast in the orange, we do have a late fall, so it could be seeing late snowfall, a late temperature difference. So we might see a late fall here, so maybe late foliage, maybe we could see some warmer temperatures than normal. Not warmer temperatures than normal, but just a general late fall. You won't be seeing warm temperatures. I don't know why I said that, but you're going to be seeing possibly some late snowfall, just in general late foliage. You just won't feel the fall conditions until a little bit later, really. You won't have the fall vibe until a little bit later, really. In the dark blue, we have colder fall. We're going to be seeing some big cold fronts there from Montana all the way surrounding the Great Lakes and portions of the Midwest. We're going to be seeing some very some very cold temperatures there for portions of and those areas that are under the dark blue, including the colder fall there. Really cold temperatures. Some big cold fronts are likely. North of that, we have major Arctic blasts. That's where we're seeing the worst of those cold fronts. Very cold there. The worst of the cold fronts, the worst of the cold, the heart of the cold for this fall, really. So if you're in those major Arctic blasts, you're really going to get some extremely cold temperatures. You're definitely going to feel the difference with cold temperatures there. You're definitely going to be seeing some big snowstorms likely, especially for the Great Lakes as well. We're going to be seeing incoming cold front and also above average precipitation in those areas as well. Right here, we have a flip-flop pattern. That's where we're going to be seeing either a cooler fall area, so we can have cool temperatures at some point, very cold temperatures at some point, very warm conditions at some point, maybe dry at some point, or maybe moist at some point. It's really going to be throughout all. It's going to be all over the place, really, if you're in that flip-flop pattern. So it sucks to say that you probably won't figure out. You won't have a certain thing that's just like you won't have a certain cold fall or warm fall. It's going to be all over the place. South of that, we have very dry. It's going to be very dry for the south central this year. We'll definitely notice it. You probably won't have as much snow or as much rain. So just going to be drier as it's will be heading more to a La Nina pattern. Just that's kind of how it works, really. This is how it is. And the more to the west, that we have a very warm fall there for portions of the south west. So if you're going to be very warm, you probably will notice it only a couple times, especially if you're in the west coast, obviously. But you're going to be seeing a warmer fall in general. So won't be seeing as big snowstorms in those areas, like a Thanksgiving storm, or like Ezekiel. We won't really have that super likely this year. And the white, we have mountain snow, and we're seeing just slightly above average mountain snow, which is exactly why we had moderately above average precipitation for those areas in the Rockies. And then last but not least, we will be seeing a very wet areas in the Pacific Northwest, above average temperatures, but going to be obviously a little bit warmer as well. Hope you guys did enjoy the video, and bye guys.